Hi, this is Bud Wassell, Manager of Employee and Family Resources Program, and welcome to this Surviving and Thriving in Uncertain and Challenging Times. It's July 7th, and even though we're in sort of a different stage in terms of what's going on in our hospital system, but also out in the world, we're still kind of like trying to figure out what comes next. And that's kind of what this is about, is trying to be comfortable with not knowing what comes next and to try to understand that, all we can really do is take it one day at a time. So again, welcome. I appreciate you coming and being with me today. We're going to go through a number of things to hopefully give you some quick and easy strategies, but also some mindful techniques. But before I get into that, I would like to share with you some information about our Employee and Family Resources Program. You see the toll-free number there. You can call that 24/7 every day of the year. They provide a range of services, and this is also open to your family members. And what that means is immediate family dependents or anyone who simply lives in your household can use the service. So you can give them that toll-free number. You can also share with them the website addresses that I'll go over here. But the scope of services is quite helpful. Work-life resources, they find resources for you and your family. Childcare, elder care, really just about anything that you're looking for. If you don't have the time or you've got something that's a little bit tricky that you're looking for help with, give them a call, and they do all the legwork, do a really good search tailored to your needs, and get back to you very quickly. There is counseling. You get up to 6 sessions completely free, and of course it is totally confidential. This is an outside company called Beacon Health Options that provides the direct service. And so we don't get any names, meaning the system doesn't get any names. There's nothing that goes in Epic or in My Chart or anything like that. And you can really meet with a professional counselor free and confidentially. All sessions now are by video or phone, so very, very easy to do. And that web address that you see here, the YNHHS.mybeaconwellbeing.com, is a new website where you can go on and search for EFR counselors and actually schedule an appointment with them very quickly, very easily. There's another website that you'll see down at chiefsolutions.net/YNHHS. That still is there. It has lots of great articles, resources, all sorts of information that you can find things on your own. We have meditations. A lot of the stuff that I'll be covering today will be, there are supporting materials on there, okay? There's also legal and financial services, a free initial consultation, and then some ongoing services as well. So don't forget the EFR, great way to get some assistance and, for whatever you or your family need. So how are you feeling? How are you doing right now in terms of, as I mentioned, it's July, so we've kind of come through I think maybe the hardest part of the COVID-19 situation, but we're still, left with a lot of uncertainty. So how are you feeling right now? You might pick one of these emotions that you see on the screen here. But we know that our emotions can be up and down. It's sort of like a roller coaster. They're uncomfortable at times, and they can be intense at times. They can be mixed. You might be feeling a number of things at the same time. So point being is there are no right or wrong emotions. Emotions are what they are. And we really want to point out that these are normal responses to a pretty abnormal, extraordinary situation, right? And for a human, we're going to be feeling some of this. And one of the things about this is that we're all across the whole world are feeling a range of feelings in reaction to the coronavirus. So just pick one. Going to the next slide, you might, what's your prominent feeling right now? These are kind of funny ways to pose these, but perhaps you're feeling scared or nervous or angry or uncertain. Tell me or think about it, and feel free to share that. What are you feeling right at this moment about the situation? And, I'll mention there too that, again, there's no right or wrong answer to this. But when we're talking about feelings, you can use a couple of quick and easy tools. One is called Ruler. Ruler is something that's based out of, or actually I should say, created from the Center for Emotional Intelligence at Yale University. And it's an acronym, and the R stands for first to recognize our emotions. The U is to understand or to seek to understand them. L is to label them. So it just helps to sometimes put a name to our emotions, to label them. E is to be able to express the emotions appropriately. For example, there's nothing really wrong with anger. We all get angry at times, but, it's how we express it that really makes the difference. So can you express it assertively and not aggressively? And then the R is to regulate our emotions. And of course, this is probably considered the master skill when it comes to emotional intelligence, being able to, in the moment, regulate what we're feeling at that point in time. Okay, so that's Ruler. That's one quick and easy way to think about how we handle our emotions. But we do want to just say it's important to acknowledge our feelings. It's typical for us to sometimes suppress or repress. In other words, not really acknowledge what we're feeling, to not be in touch with it, to deny them, to avoid them. We don't like to feel anxious, sad, depressed, angry, whatever it is. And so this second bullet, the more we're unwilling to accept these feelings, the more they tend to increase and resurface in other ways. But so acknowledging really can be helpful. Want to also point out that some of the feelings that we feel that are more difficult are related to grief and loss. And so whatever you've been through, your family has been through, certainly if you've been through illness and if you've lost a loved one, my sincere condolences and here are my thoughts and prayers. It's the most difficult, of course, to have to deal with. But we've also, in some of our families, dealt with the loss of a job in one of our family members. We don't feel safe. Things are unpredictable. Social connections are different. We don't have the same routine, stable social connections. We've lost a lot of events, celebrations and graduations and birthdays and funerals. All kinds of things have been very different and difficult these days. So in a sense, we've lost control. And for some people, perhaps we've lost faith. So these are pretty difficult and deep emotional states to feel. So I want to get back to acknowledging. It helps to express these. It helps to talk to somebody about these. So certainly if this touches a very difficult something in your own heart, please consider getting some help or finding somebody to talk to. But again, you can easily talk to somebody through our program. And I'll repeat those phone numbers towards the end. So some of the things that we recommend in terms of just keeping on balance, very, very obvious things. Staying active, try to get that exercise in. Try to do some sweat-producing exercise if you can. Certainly walking is good, but if you can do some really fast or vigorous walking, that's even better. Try to do it on a regular basis. Making sure you're eating right. All these things we pretty much know, but I'll mention we do have a great program called Living Well Cares in the health system, and you can speak to a health coach one-on-one and really get some specific advice and guidance about any of these, including sleep. I included this link here, How to Sleep When You're Anxious by Dr. Judd Brewer. Really great stuff. This is like I think a 6 or 7 minute YouTube. And so if you can get the slides, I'm happy to send them to you. You'll have these links. But that's a very good one. You could even just search for it on YouTube. How to Sleep When You're Anxious, 3 key tips. Because this has certainly affected my sleep, and it's probably affected most of our sleep. Either our minds are racing, we're worried about things, we wake up in the middle of the night, lots and lots of thoughts, perhaps anxious thoughts. So mindfulness and some of the things that he recommends can be very, very helpful. And try to limit habits that don't really help in the long run. So, drinking and drug use, for example, or, I don't know, there's lots of things that we do to feel better in some ways, temporarily, but we don't want them to get out of control, right? So be careful, try to limit those things. And again, if you need help with those, you can talk to EFR, one of our counselors, or Living Well Cares can help you with those as well. This is crucial, staying in touch, staying connected, keeping those social connections. I know it's more difficult these days, but do what you can to stay connected. I just read this great article about those who have good friendships stay healthier and actually live longer. So no surprise, but doesn't mean to say if you don't feel you have good friendships, you can't try to develop some better ones or to cultivate your friendships that you currently have. So do what you can to reconnect or keep those connections strong with those folks who support you, and find somebody. And we do have a buddy system at Yale New Haven Health System. So if you haven't heard about that, try to find a buddy who's kind of going through some similarities, either at work or at home, and use them to kind of support and kind of have your own mini support group. But if you're not finding the kind of support you need through your own support networks, see what you can do to find some new outlets for this. This is really important. People are getting really creative on Zoom. I've heard of, Zoom happy hours, Zoom dance parties. I just heard about somebody doing a card game or other, Scrabble, those kinds of things on Zoom or online. So those kinds of things can really help as well. We can't hug, we can't have the physical closeness that we're used to, but there are some ways that you can perhaps touch trusted folks in your circle a little more carefully. Here are several of them, and then here's a couple more that we came across that are kind of creative, looking at these as ways to keep ourselves safe, but at the same time get some closeness. Now, turning to resiliency, these are 7 habits of resilient people, and they all kind of apply here. And I'm just going to highlight a couple of things, but learning to view the future with hope and optimism, that number 3 there, is pretty important. And so if you're not feeling so optimistic or hopeful at this time, we can actually change that through our thinking. And so being aware of our thought patterns and some of the thought patterns that get us into trouble, some of the cycles that spiral and become negative are important to first be aware of them, and then secondly to change them and actively to do some things that bring optimism. Number 4, avoid extreme responses and replacing those negative thoughts with realistic ones. It also helps to do number 6 and 7, for example, really stay with your values, make choices consistent with those, trying to cultivate a sense of purpose and meaning, very, very important. And you might even look at how have you gotten through past difficult challenges. And you might find that several of these things you've done and that you have within you have within your own resources internally. So you can think about those and do what you can to make them stronger. I do want to talk a little bit about post-traumatic growth. This is so important. You know, when we've been through tough times, usually we learn a little bit more about what's helped and what we can do to make ourselves stronger. We learn about ourselves, we learn about other people, and we learn some things that are helpful. So how does it affect you going forward from here? And do you have any new goals, for example? New things that you've done or are intending to do to take as a springboard into a growth development kind of point here. As we do this, trying to be compassionate with ourselves, you know, remembering that not to be too hard on ourselves, that we have been through a tough time and that we've done the best we can. We're really trying to get through this time. So remember to be gentle and easy with yourself. Don't let that inner critic really take over. Our resilience really comes through going through these difficult situations and coming out on the other side and looking back on that and saying, what was it that helped me get through some of the tougher days or nights that you went through? So thinking back right now, you know, maybe jotting a couple of things down. What have you learned? I know a lot of people talk about they've learned how this in some ways have made their home life stronger. Perhaps they've been eating more dinners at home, or they've learned to find ways to share with their loved ones some of the challenges, and they've had some conversations that are more meaningful with people in their circle. So, you know, what are some things for you that have pointed out some things that you're growing in, that you're getting stronger in? Also want to talk a little bit about this idea of finding peaceful, calm moments amidst a chaotic, hectic life. Okay, so it is possible. And so I'm going to give you a couple of ideas. This is one simple one that you can do with me right now, for example. It's called 3 breaths for a mindful pause. So first step is to just take a deep mindful breath. You can close your eyes if you like, but you don't have to. Feel that breath going in and coming out. Be aware of the physical sensations of this one breath. Just noticing and being aware of the breath itself and how it anchors you in the present moment. Take another deep breath and notice your body and ask yourself, what does my body need? Do I need to relax or stretch or move or drink something or eat? What does it need? And then allow yourself to find that, or to give yourself what your body needs. The third is taking another deep breath, the third breath, and be kind to yourself. Remember to do something for yourself, to give yourself a pat on the back, to appreciate and recognize what you've been through, and that, you know, you need a little care and compassion as well. So to give yourself that. Some of us, we tend to leave ourselves for last, and we don't do this. So please remember to be kind to yourself. That's the third and probably the most important breath of this exercise. And then to bring this expanded awareness with you to the next moments of your day. Now, there are everyday informal mindful activities you can do. So just think of all the routine activities you do during each and every day. Take one of them. So hand washing is one that I'll give you an idea. We wash our hands many, many times, right? When you're washing your hands, instead of allowing the mind to go off on autopilot, just pay attention to washing your hands. In other words, when you're doing something, just do that one thing. Feel the water. Listen to the sound of it, the temperature of the water, what it feels like when you lather up, what it feels like when you rinse off, and drying your hands. The whole process. Just really pay attention to the sensations of the process of the hand washing. This stops the cycle of rumination. It stops us worrying and thinking about things and just gives our mind a little psychological rest, kind of changing gears a little bit and being in the present moment. It strengthens that sense of presence in our life. So do this with all sorts of things. Here's a number of suggestions. Routine daily chores that we have, things that we do at work, making coffee or tea, or eating mindfully, or eating part of your meal in a mindful way so that you really slow down and appreciate and take some time with food, savor it, enjoy it. And you'll really find that it makes a difference in how you appreciate it. You might do some mindful movement in this fun slide here on these cat yoga stretches, but just doing some simple cat stretches, or wherever you feel tension. Maybe you feel tension in your shoulders, so you can do some simple shoulder rolls, slow rolls forward and backward. Okay, simple, slow, remembering to breathe, very gentle stretches. You might do some head rolls, stretching out the muscles in your neck, in your shoulders, the base of the skull, the jaw, whatever it is. Maybe some hand stretches, interlocking your fingers, stretching them out, raising them above your head, arching your back a little bit, and then maybe holding it gently and then slowly letting your hands come down to the sides. These are just some examples, but taking some time during the day to stretch a little bit, to move a little bit. We can end up hunched over the computer screen or, in the same position for long periods of time. So doing some mindful movement, and that simply means paying attention to what you're doing while you're doing it in a mindful way. This can also include walking or climbing stairs, going to somewhere, even driving, you can do mindfully. It can really put us more in touch with the here and now. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to run you through a brief mindfulness breathing exercise, okay? And we're going to actually bring up a little bit of a difficult emotion in the middle of this. So when I do that, maybe just think of something that you're struggling with, something that perhaps a circumstance that's weighing on your mind and your heart. We're going to use the breath as an anchor. You'll see how that works. This is really easy. Just follow along with me. So anytime, if you feel a little bit overwhelmed by the emotion, just go back to the breath. The breath is your refuge. It's your anchor. It's your steadying way of being present, but it also can be calming. So go back to the breath if the emotions are feeling a little bit strong while we do this. So this will just take a few minutes. So we'll just start by simply closing the eyes and just take 3 nice long deep breaths. If you want to breathe out through the mouth, you can on the out breath. Letting all the air out, letting the out breath be long and slow. And as you take that last deep breath, just let everything relax and soften. And just follow your breathing in and out of the body, just paying attention to the gentle, easy flow. Noticing the actual sensations of each breath. And by doing so, we establish the breath as an anchor. Relaxes us, but it also gives us kind of a calming, steadying presence. So just let yourself rest on the waves of your breathing in and out, gentle and easy. No right or wrong way to do this. Now I invite you to bring your attention to focus on a strong or difficult emotion. And take a moment to remember the situation of difficulty in your life. And just let yourself remember how it felt, but also how you're feeling right now as you recall it. Whatever it is, it might be fear or hurt or anxiety, anger. Don't focus on the story itself. Don't focus on the content about it. Drop down and sense the feeling in your body when you bring this up. Notice where it is and see if you can let it be here for a time. Breathing to make space for it. Breathing into that area to keep yourself relaxed. You can name the emotion softly to yourself, allowing it space to expand in this field of mindfulness. Now remember, you can always return to just focusing on the breath anytime you wish. Now add compassion. Don't judge the feeling, try to make it go away, but hold it with compassion for all the suffering connected with it. And see how it responds to this compassion. And as you feel this strong feeling, imagine how many others are experiencing the same feeling across the world. And let your compassion grow to include them as well. So we kind of breathe in compassion for ourselves, and we breathe out compassion for others. Just notice how this feels in your mind, in your heart, your body. Now bring your attention back to your breath, tuning into the sensations of the breath again. Letting the breath anchor you in this moment. Noticing that steadying and calming influence of the breath. And know that you can use the breath anytime, even outside of the meditation, to center and ground and calm yourself. And just finishing the meditation with this: may we be filled with loving kindness, safe and protected. May we all be well in body and mind, strong and healed. And may you be happy. May you find moments of peace and care and meaning. And with this, feel free to slowly open the eyes as we finish the meditation. And you can move, you can stretch, whatever it feels right for you at this point in time. Okay, so that was a meditation to try. And I just want to mention, looking at this, I always love this cartoon of the man walking his dog, and he's troubled and burdened by so many things on his mind. And the dog, on the other hand, is clear mind. So the man is really running on autopilot here. And when we do that, our mind wanders. And on autopilot, our mind wanders usually to negative things. And we end up obsessing or ruminating or projecting about the future. And we're really not living in the present moment. But we kind of go to our old negative thought patterns when we do this. And that's the reason why I'm suggesting you try some of these mindful activities to interrupt or stop that cycle. And the more we do this, the more we retrain our mind to be present, to not be in autopilot. We can really be more like the dog. So I'm really kind of suggesting be like the dog. The dog just sees exactly what's in front of him. Trees and the sun, the smell of nature, the beauty of it. You know, the dog is really in touch with that. So the more we do this, we can see clearly, we clear out all the worries and stresses and obsessing that can happen. And we just see clearly what's right here, right now, right in front of us. So this slide here, just a couple of quick notes on to try to really build positivity into our lives. We do have a negativity bias in our brain, and so we need to actively do some things to overcome this. This particular link goes to a great TED Talk by Dr. Rick Hansen, a neuropsychologist, who really says that the more that we focus on positive things and allow them to sink in a sense, allow them to really develop new neural pathways, the more that we can turn the negative mindset into more positive mindset. We can also use gratitude and gratitude practices simply by jotting things down on a daily basis. 1, 2, 3 things that you're grateful for, or even just noting 3 good things that happened during the day instead of allowing the negative to take over our mindset. That third link there, Make Stress with Your Friend, is by Dr. Kelly McGonigal. Again, on YouTube, it's a TED Talk. Great way to reframe how we look at stress, that stress really can be helpful to us at times, and it really can energize us. And then if we view it in this way, if we view it as not being harmful, it can really actually be very helpful to us to be focused and to get things done. So if you get a chance, you might want to look those up. And if you want the slides, just let me know, and I'll send you the slides, and you'll have these links, and you can follow them at your convenience. Just want to remind you about our Take 10 phone meditations. We do them 5 days a week. You can call in for a live meditation. They're only 10 minutes. That's the phone number, 888-398-2342. And then the access code is 386-2125. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2. If you can't join at this time, we do have a recorded line, and that's that blue box on the bottom, 203-688-6185. And you can call this anytime. There are 3 pre-recorded meditations on there, so feel free to take advantage of that. This is a poem that you'll see, but I do want to, I'm just going to go back to the very first slide and show you that website again. So flipping through here quickly, you have my email address when I get back to that. So feel free to email me. I'll send you the slides. There's that toll-free number again for EFR. And then the EFR website, achievesolutions.net/YNHHS. We have over 20 guided meditations on this website as well. So you can go on there and find those, and great way to reinforce what we've talked about today. So thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time and attention, and I wish you well. I wish you safety and happiness and good health to your family as well. I hope that you can find these moments of peace, but also I hope you can find care for yourself and for others and meaning. So thanks so much. Do take good care of yourself, and be well and be mindful.